All right, we'll get started now. So welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Alice Gottesman, and I'm an engagement specialist with Global Forest Watch. Today, we'll talk about MapBuilder and how it can be used to create forest and land use monitoring applications. Before we get started, I wanted to give you an overview of how to ask questions. If you have a question about what we're presenting, please click on the Q&A button and type it in there. At the end of the presentation, we'll have some time to answer your questions. Otherwise, we're recording this webinar and we'll send out a recording along with the presentation in the coming week. First, I'll provide a quick overview of Global Forest Watch. Global Forest Watch offers an integrated, openly accessible suite of tools designed to enable experts and non-experts alike to access information about forest change and mobilize action. Some high-level examples of how this is done include increasing knowledge and transparency about forest landscapes. Global Forest Watch tools and data offer access to the state of the world's forests to everyone, everywhere for free. Harnessing information to mobilize local action by governments and civil society. We have a variety of partners and some programs that help promote data-driven action. And lastly, advancing private sector action to stop commodity-driven deforestation and manage forests sustainably. One of our tools, GFW Pro, allow the private sector to measure risk associated with their supply chains. MapBuilder aligns with this strategy by allowing actors to easily create their own monitoring applications for free, thus empowering them to take action in their respective environments. With us today, to discuss MapBuilder are Gabrielle Nussbaum, an engagement manager at Global Forest Watch, and Kai Krezek, a GIS product manager at Global Forest Watch. Gabrielle works on user engagement and project implementation for Forest Watcher and MapBuilder. She partners with governments, NGOs, and academic institutions to combine national data with global data and technology from Global Forest Watch to monitor forests and land use on national and local scales. She will provide an introduction to MapBuilder in a bit. Kai works on the creation and implementation of national forest and land use atlases in the South Caucasus, Central Africa, and Madagascar. She similarly partners with various groups to monitor forests and land use on a national scale, while also managing the development cycle for MapBuilder. Kai will provide a demonstration of how you can use MapBuilder for free later on. During this webinar, we'll offer an introduction to MapBuilder, elaborating on MapBuilder's history, how it's been used in the past, and what it offers. We'll then offer a demo of MapBuilder and highlight how you can utilize it to create your own monitoring application for free. At the end, we'll provide ample time for questions. I'll now pass it off to Gabrielle.
Great, thanks, Alice. So hi, everyone. I'm excited to present some information on MapBuilder today, which allows users to create their own interactive web maps that contain both user data as well as important key data sets that you would find on Global Forest Watch. I'll be giving you a brief introduction to MapBuilder before we dive into how you can build one for yourself. The MapBuilder template allows users to visualize data that is on Global Forest Watch, such as alerts, fires, tree cover loss, land cover, and more, and combine it with their own contextual data sets. This could be anything from land use to community forests, to national land cover data sets, to biodiversity, and even urban and agricultural, whatever data you would like to visualize in your map. The result is a combined map that provides local context to the global data that you would find on Global Forest Watch. MapBuilder can be built using an ArcGIS Online account, which Kai will be demonstrating for you shortly. Once your map is built, you can share the link as a standalone site, or you can also embed it into your own website. MapBuilder is supported in 10 languages: English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Bahasa Indonesian, Mandarin Chinese, Georgian, Armenian, Azerbaijani, and Dutch. So now I'm going to briefly review some of the features that you would see on a MapBuilder map after you create it. Firstly, you can see that there is a layer panel on the left-hand side, and this has some pre-installed global data sets that you would find on Global Forest Watch. The data can be turned on and off, and also some of the data can be filtered. For example, here you can see the land cover dynamics layer that are available on the map, and that includes data like the annual tree cover loss data sets, GLAD alerts, and fire alerts. When you click on a feature of the map, you can also get important information of that feature at a glance. So for example, here you can see that a forest concession is highlighted in blue. And on the left-hand panel, you can see that information is provided, such as the concession name, the division name, the forest sector, and the forest zone. So the information that you put in there can then be easily viewed upon by the users of your map after you create it. Users of your map can also conduct on-the-fly analyses similarly to Global Forest Watch. Here, I drew a shape on the map, and using the Analysis tab on the left-hand panel, I can choose the analysis that I wish to perform for the area that I drew. So I can look at the total tree cover gain within a time series. I could look at the GLAD alerts per month, or I can look at the land cover composition of this area that I'm interested in understanding more closely. You can also conduct on-the-fly analyses by clicking on a feature of the map. So here you can see a feature has been selected. I clicked it and it's highlighted again in blue. And on the left, you can see tree cover loss by year for that feature. Users of your map can also view recent Sentinel satellite imagery on top of your map, and you can filter the images by date and cloud cover. Users of your map that you've created can also share their map view with others via a link or through social media, making it easier for others to share your map that you created and also the different insights that your map may provide. I'm going to present you with just a couple of examples so you can learn more about how others are using MapBuilder. One example is Hutan Watch, which is a website that uses MapBuilder to monitor forest changes and improve forest transparency in Malaysia. Leveraging MapBuilder, Hutan Watch built a series of interactive maps in which users can explore and analyze relevant local data sets, providing more insight into where and what sorts of landscapes forest change is occurring. The WRI Governance Center uses MapBuilder to show spatial data and conduct on-the-fly analysis for the Landmark platform, the first global platform to provide maps and other critical information on lands that are collectively held and used by Indigenous peoples and local communities. The integration of GFW data layers and analytical tools to calculate tree cover loss, carbon stocks, and more provide valuable contextual information that helps to show the importance of Indigenous and community lands in conserving and managing natural resources. So thanks everyone. I'll now pass it over to Kai, who will run you through a demonstration on how to build a MapBuilder application using a free public account on ArcGIS Online.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining the MapBuilder tutorial. Today, I will be walking you through how to create your own interactive web mapping application for land use monitoring using Global Forest Watch's free MapBuilder tool. Today, you will learn how to create your own interactive web map, how to display your own environmental datasets, how to customize the appearance of your web map application, and how to share your finished product with the world. Here you can access the links and materials relevant to this tutorial. Please note that we will reference these links throughout the training. You can access our MapBuilder tool via ArcGIS Online. I will now go over how to create a free public account, but if you already have a public account, please disregard these steps and proceed with logging in. To create an account, navigate to www.arcgis.com. Please click the Create an Account link beneath where the web page prompts you for a username and password. Once you have navigated to the next screen, you should scroll down and click on this link where it says to create an ArcGIS public account. Again, this is a free limited functionality account that will give you access to the MapBuilder tool. The site will now prompt you to fill out your information. Please complete the process by adding your first name, last name, and email. You'll need to accept the terms and services below. Conversely, if you're interested in using any of the following social media or other alternative login, you can access that via these buttons here. Click Next to proceed. You will be sent an email, which will then prompt you to complete the account activation process. Once you have successfully created your ArcGIS Online public account, you can log in and then begin the process of creating your MapBuilder tool. First of all, you have to create a web map. In order to do that, please navigate to the top toolbar and click Map. What you see is a blank interactive map on the right, as well as some buttons and tools that will allow you to add your custom data and add some additional content and details. Before any custom data is added to this web map, it's a good idea to save it. Please navigate to the top toolbar and select Save. Give your map an informative title. In this specific training, we will be using a data set that displays the boundaries of 6 Brazilian continental biomes. I will give this map a title related to this content. Next, I'll specify some tags for my map. If you end up creating many different maps, tags are a good way to categorize them. Then give your map a brief description. You can save this map in a specific folder, which will be accessible in the content area of your ArcGIS Online account. Once all of the fields are complete, the map can be saved, and we can proceed with adding custom spatial data. We are now ready to add data to our map. With a free account, you have 2 options for adding data. The first is adding data from a file stored on your desktop. The second is adding data from the ArcGIS Online catalog. I'll go over both options. First of all, let's add data from your desktop. If you'd like to use the training data, please follow the data link that was provided at the beginning of this video. Once you've downloaded that data, please save it somewhere convenient on your desktop. When you're ready, select Add from the top toolbar, and then choose Add Layer from File from the drop-down menu. In this case, we are adding a zipped shapefile. Make sure you do not unzip the file before you import it. Select Browse to access the file on your desktop. In this case, we're using the Brazil Biomes zip file. By the way, in addition to shapefiles, you can also upload CSVs, GPX, or GeoJSON files. Select whether you'd like to generalize the features for web display or keep the original features of your dataset. When you're ready, select Import Layer. You should now see the data reflected on your map. Now that the data is appearing on our web map, we have several different options for visualizing. First of all, we can choose an attribute to show on the lower left-hand legend. Right here, I've selected to show the name of each Brazilian biome, since that's what we're focusing on. Next up, you can select a specific attribute using this setting right here. This will enable you to change the appearance of your data based on attribute information, in this case, name. Clicking here, you can go even further as to select individual colors for each of your data. You can adjust the transparency here, as well as the visible range. Once you've configured your data to your satisfaction, select OK. Conversely, if you'd like to visualize your data using one single visualization, select this option right here. And you can see that now all of the biomes are visualized in one color. I'm going to switch it back and then select Done. Now that we've configured the visualization, don't forget to hit Save. The next thing I'll show you how to do is how to configure your data here in the legend area. The first thing I want to do is change the name of the layer to something that's more descriptive. So I'll click More Options, scroll down in the drop-down menu, and then select Rename. If you click this layer now, you'll see that the name has changed, and you can also see the visualization decisions that you made before. If you'd like to go back and edit any of these, you can go here and change the style. Clicking on More Options also shows you several other types of customizations that you can use for your data. If you'd like to configure a pop-up information, such as when you click on a shapefile in your interactive map, you can do so here. You can create labels, such as if you'd like to label each biome here on the map itself. You can affect the transparency of the data here. And you can also choose to remove or hide this layer if you'd no longer like to see it on your map. Once we've completed editing the data set here in Content, you can now see that change reflected here on the legend. I'll now go over the second option for adding data to your map, which is by accessing the ArcGIS Online Data Catalog. Return to the top toolbar and select Add. Now select Search for Layers from the drop-down menu. As you can see, the default is to search for layers within My Content. However, we would like to expand that search to all of ArcGIS Online in order to search the full catalog. Now you can search for layers. In this example, I would like to add data for oil and gas concessions in Brazil. So I'll search that. As you can see, my search has yielded a couple of data sets. I'm going to select this one. By clicking on this data set, you can now see several different pieces of information regarding the description, the terms of use, credits, and more. Once you've reviewed whether this is the data set you'd like to add, you can select Add to Map, and you can see the data populate. Click back. You can view the data in your contents now, as well as within the legend. In exactly the same manner as before, you can change the style. I'm going to change the status to a different color in order to better contrast against the existing data set. Now I'm going to change the name. Once you've configured this data set, we can now move on to the next step of this process, which is to create a web mapping application based on this web map that we've just configured. Now that we are done configuring our web map, we'll want to make sure to save it. Select here on the top toolbar and select Save in the drop-down menu. Now that we've successfully saved our web map, we'll want to navigate to My Content in ArcGIS Online. I would recommend not navigating away from this tab. Instead, go up to the Home button here on the top left, scroll down to Content, right-click, and open Link in New tab. This is important because you'll want to reference your web map in the future, specifically so that you can get this information, the web map ID, from the browser. Click on the new tab that you've just opened. Now you can see where the web map has been stored within your content. Next, you'll want to Add Item, this button on the top left, and select Add an Application. Now we're ready to create your interactive web mapping application. First, we'll want to make sure that the type of application is selected to be web mapping. Next, we need to define the purpose, which is configurable. The URL that you'll want to enter here is https://my.gfw-mapbuilder.org/v1.latest. This will make sure that your application is pointing to the MapBuilder template. We'll now give our mapping application a descriptive title. Again, we'll want to add tags. Once you've filled out everything you need to, proceed by clicking Add Item. You will now be brought to a new screen, which will allow you to configure the settings of your web mapping application. You can make sure that your web mapping application isn't accidentally deleted by checking this box under Delete Protection. Anytime you make any changes within your settings, make sure that you save. The next thing you'll need to do is scroll down and define the data source URL. In order to do this, you'll need to add some text into this URL box. You'll want to add a / app ID equals. The app ID that you'll need to enter here can be found in the URL. Looking at the URL, after ID equals, copy, and then paste. Make sure that the only text that's included within your app ID are the numbers that are found up here in the URL. Once you've done so, scroll down. Now we'll need to define the configuration parameters. In order to do this, you'll need to go to the WRI GitHub. I'll provide the link. Please go to github.com/WRI/GFW-MapBuilder/wiki/configuration. You are now on the configuration page of the GFW MapBuilder wiki. Scroll down. Now, please watch very closely. You'll want to copy and paste some of the text below. Make sure that you capture this curly bracket. Scroll down, making sure to copy all of this text. Once you're at the very bottom, you'll want to make sure that you only copy up to the curly bracket before the comma. Now navigate back to your web mapping application and paste what you've just copied into the configuration parameters. Now we're ready to dive into the code and make changes to the web map. Some changes that we'll make are the name of the web map, the subtitle, some additional information including language, and then I'll show you some other examples of things that you can configure, such as default datasets, translations, and more. Let's now start to edit some of the configuration settings for your web mapping application. The first thing that you'll want to do is to change the web map ID. You can find your specific web map ID by navigating back to the tab. Remember that we kept open the web map that we created earlier so that we can reference this number right here. After the equal sign, highlight the numbers and copy, making sure that you just capture the string after the equal sign. Navigate back to the tab that contains your web mapping application and paste that string right here. The next thing we'll want to do is to make some changes based on the content of our web map. In this training, our web map is looking at the biomes in Brazil as well as oil and gas concessions. Let's make our title something related to that. We can also change the subtitle. In addition to the settings that you just changed, there are many other configuration settings that you can edit here in your web mapping application. To see a comprehensive list of these settings and what each of them correspond to on your web map application, you can go back to the GitHub page that you were on previously. Since you're currently on the configuration page, you'll want to go to the right, scroll down, and select Plain Attributes. Here you can see all of the different settings that you can edit. There are helpful explanations as to what each property means, and some examples of how to edit it. You can also see some other helpful information. For example, we support several default languages. For example, in addition to English, which is the default setting, you can change your map to French, Spanish, Portuguese, Bahasa Indonesian, Mandarin Chinese, or Georgian. This setting lives right here, in the Languages property. Once you're finished configuring your web map, you want to go down and click Save. You'll know that this was successful if you see the green pop-up that just appeared in the top right-hand corner. If you do not see this appear and you're unable to save your map, this means that there is an issue with the code that you have just adjusted. One of the most common issues that are here in the configuration parameter are an improper amount of brackets or an accidental deletion of quotations. Please make sure that when you go to the GitHub and you look at the configuration file, that you have selected the correct text. I'll show you again, just because this is a very specific step. Again, make sure that you only copy what I've highlighted here. Now we're ready to make a couple last-minute changes before we unveil the finished MapBuilder application. Select Overview. Here you can add a brief summary about your item. If you'd like to add some more in-depth descriptions, any terms of use, any additional information about credits, or update any of the information regarding the tags that you've assigned to this web map application or the folder in which it's stored, you can do that now. The next thing I want to do is make sure that the sharing settings are specified. Currently, the web map is only viewable by you, the owner of the web map application. If you'd like to change this and make sure that everyone can view this web app application, you can select Everyone. I'll do that now. Additionally, to make sure that everyone can view this web map application, you'll want to go back to the web map that you created earlier and edit the sharing settings. You can do that by going to the top tab here, select Share, and then make sure that everyone is selected. Go back to the tab for your web map application and select View Application. Now you can see your data, as well as all of the changes that you made to the configuration file. As you can see here, the title and the subtitle have reflected the changes that we made on the configuration file. Selecting Info shows the narrative information that we also edited in the configuration settings. Now you're ready to share your web mapping application. To do so, you can select this button here in the top right. You have several different options. You can copy and paste this link. You can also share it on Twitter or Facebook. You can also embed your MapBuilder application within an external website using an iframe. Simply change the highlighted source URL below to match the URL for the MapBuilder application you'd like to share. Thank you again for joining this training. Again, here are the links and materials that were discussed throughout this training. You can reference these to learn more about how to sign up for a free Esri public account, how to view a written version of this tutorial, to access the sample data used in this tutorial, and to visit the MapBuilder Tools GitHub page. There you will find comprehensive information about MapBuilder, the configuration settings, and more. To learn more about the MapBuilder tool, you can visit www.globalforestwatch.org/mapbuilder. If you have any questions, you can also email us at mapbuilder@wri.org. Thank you again for joining this training.
Thank you, Kai, for that in-depth demonstration.
Hello, everyone.
As a reminder, we'll send a copy of this presentation with all of the links that we referenced, as well as a recording of the webinar in the next few days. Our apologies for the issue of the top bar being cut off. We'll ensure that the top bar is visible in the video that we share with you all. So to find additional information on how you can use MapBuilder, you can visit the Global Forest Watch Help Center. There you will find additional step-by-step tutorials, webinar recordings such as this one, FAQs, and other resources that can help guide you through MapBuilder as well as other GFW tools. I'll share the link to where the MapBuilder resources can be found on the Help Center in the chat now. Next slide, please. All right, and thank you all for joining us. We'll now open it up for a Q&A. So if you have a question, please enter it through the Q&A button. All right, so we will start it off with a question from Janet. So Janet asked, what is the smallest forest area that you could realistically monitor using this method? Kai, do you want to take that question?
Hello, yes, I can take that question. So each pixel within the tree cover loss data set is 30 by 30 meters. So if you were to try to analyze an area that was less than, you wouldn't be able to register any tree cover loss in that area. Let me know if that's a helpful response. I am happy to clarify anything else.
Thanks, Kai. So the next question is, can you import custom data to display on a map?
Yes, you can. So if you were to analyze custom data on a MapBuilder tool that was already made, you could upload the tool via the method that was shown earlier in the PowerPoint presentation, and we'd be happy to show a demonstration of that again. Also, for that method, you're limited to shapefiles only. Again, if you're interested in adding custom data to the MapBuilder tool that you're constructing on ArcGIS Online, you are able to upload a variety of different data types.
Thank you, Kai. So the next question is from John Rahm. He wrote, thanks for the insightful webinar. Has MapBuilder been used in urban settings before? For instance, to monitor urban tree cover gain?
That is a great question. I am not aware of any use cases specific to urban settings. Gabby, is this something that you are aware of?
Yeah, we haven't had any use cases that we're aware of yet, although there can be map builders, many map builders that we're unaware of. So it's certainly possible. But if this is a use case that you are potentially interested in, then we'd be happy to explore that with you and see how MapBuilder can meet your need.
Thank you, Kai and Gabby. That's helpful. All right, so the next question is asking how you can have global data show specifically for a certain country or region rather than the full global data set. Is that possible on a MapBuilder application?
Hi, sorry, I might need to clarify the question, but you're asking if any of the GFW related global data sets can be shown specific to a country. If that's the question, then yes, you're able to do that. What I would recommend doing is uploading a shapefile of the country that you're interested in analyzing. Once that country shapefile is there, you'll be able to access the analysis features and just receive statistics for that country boundary.
Thanks, Kai. And that question was from Michael. Michael, if that didn't answer the question, please feel free to follow up with us in the Q&A with any additional questions or thoughts. All right, this question is from Matthew. He is asking, is there any upper limit on the number of polygons or vector data volume that can be uploaded?
So there's two different answers to this question. If you are uploading a shapefile to a pre-existing MapBuilder tool, you're limited to 1 GB of data. If you were to upload data into ArcGIS Online, I believe your limit is 6 GB.
Thanks, Kai. All right, so this next one is from Jim. Thanks for a great session. I've seen a map of deforestation by year in groups of years color-coded from the University of Maryland. Is this data set capable of being incorporated into a map builder? Are there any links for that data set?
Hi, Jim. Yes, so the data that's included on MapBuilder is this deforestation data that you're describing from University of Maryland. The difference is just the color coding. So on the MapBuilder tool, you're able to filter by year using a data slider, which will allow you to see each year separately or allow the years to build upon one another. We're not currently offering a color-coded version of this data set, but if this is something you're interested in, please let us know.
And Jim, just to add to that, the data set that you're probably talking about on the MapBuilder and on GFW is called tree cover loss. So that's probably the data set that you're talking about if you're looking for it on the map.
All right, thank you both. All right, the next question is from Rubens. Asking, can you upload several shapefiles as part of the same personalized map? For instance, if I wanted to create a map with several non-continuous small areas scattered over a large area.
Yes, you can upload several shapefiles within the map if you'd like. If you're creating your map on ArcGIS Online, you would have to upload these shapefiles as separate zipped files in order to do that. If you are uploading shapefiles onto a pre-existing MapBuilder tool, you're limited to 1 shapefile dataset at a time.
Thanks, Kai. So the next question is from Hosea. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. They're asking, apart from forests, is it possible to monitor other land cover types, such as open water surfaces?
So this is a good question. Currently, we focus on land cover change within forests and other other like terraformed areas. However, if you have a data set that you personally create or have access to that looks at open water surfaces, you would be able to use this. However, our tree cover loss data and any of our land cover specific data sets wouldn't cover these regions.
And we don't have any analysis tools for that kind of data sets at the moment.
All right, thank you both. So the next question is, can you access the planet imagery that's available on GFW through MapBuilder?
So the answers to this is it's coming soon. So we are currently adding the planet imagery, high resolution satellite imagery to MapBuilder, and it will be available at the end of this month.
Thanks, Kai. So the next question is whether MapBuilder can be used for a big scale, so a really large area. Can you build an application for that kind of scale?
Yes, you can do that if you would like. Because MapBuilder focuses on national, regional data, it was definitely created to look at smaller regions. However, if you have data that spans several countries, you could definitely view this and analyze it on the map.
And we do have examples of this, for example, like the landmark map that we mentioned in the use case. So it is possible to do it really on any scale, depending on the types of data you'd like to incorporate into the map.
All right, thank you both. The next question is, if someone were to want to see changes over time in an area on a MapBuilder application, how could they do that?
This is a good question as well. So it depends on what types of changes you're interested in looking at. So on the MapBuilder tool, we have several near real-time data sets that you can access. We have the Glad Alert data set, which is updated on a weekly basis, and this will allow you to see near real-time information on where tree cover loss is occurring in the tropical region. We also have other near real-time data sets that are related to fires. So if you're interested in looking at fires that are occurring, you can access our VIIRS fires data via the MapBuilder tool.
Thanks, Kai. And as a reminder, everyone, we will be sharing a recording of this webinar, as well as some of the links that we shared and a copy of the presentation in the next few days. So keep an eye out for an email from Global Forest Watch. All right, so the next question is, can I add new planting trees on a specific area to an application?
New planting trees. I might need a more specific explanation of the data set that you're interested in adding. It depends on the format of this data. So if it's a vector data set, then you can add that to the map. There aren't really any limitations as to the content of this vector data. Again, I would need to know more information about this.
Thanks, Kai. Juan, feel free to share more information with us by either reaching out to mapbuilder@wri.org or through the Q&A here. So this question is about the GFW data. So to what degree do the GFW data sets cover scrubland or newly planted forestry and differentiate between different maturity of forestry?
Okay, so this is an excellent question. We get this a lot. So one thing to clarify is that our tree cover data set defines vegetation that's greater than 5 meters in height, as well as greater than 30 meters tree canopy percentage cover. So this means that any vegetation that is less than this 5 meters or less than 30% tree canopy cover would not be registered. And so this means that some younger forests, newly planted forests, and scrubland would be eliminated from this data set. However, on MapBuilder, as well as on Global Forest Watch as a whole, you're able to filter related to tree canopy density, or that tree canopy cover percentage that I mentioned. And so you can go all the way from greater than 10%, which would allow you to capture some of that newly planted or shrubland forest types.
Thanks, Kai. That was a helpful explanation. All right, so the next question is there a limit to how many attributes, as in columns in a CSV, that the tool allows?
The only limitation that you would have to attributes is if it maximizes the larger end of the file data size that we're allowed. So if it exceeds that 1 gigabyte size.
Thank you. And the next question is, can Python code be used instead of JavaScript, or do you have to use JavaScript?
At the moment, we're only configured to use JavaScript. However, Python code is something that is highly demanded. We can look into providing a translation for that.
Thank you, Kai. And then secondly, can one use Google Earth Engine and combine information with an application that they build?
Yes, so Google Earth Engine is not a data server. However, if you had an intermediate application that would allow you to connect data from Google Earth Engine to ArcGIS Online via an image server, then you would be able to do this.
Thank you, Kai. So the next question is, how often can we request a spatial analysis with MapBuilder, such as per day or per week?
Okay, so I may need some clarification on this specific question. There are currently only analyses available in this temporal range that you describe if the data is near real time already. So if there's a data set that has data available for those time specifications, then you will be able to get an analysis from that. So for example, for the GLAD alert data set and the VIIRS alert data set, which are both near real time, you'd be able to get data within analyses that would give you information about alerts within the past week or the past month.
Thanks, Kai. All right, so the next question is, are there any plans to add canopy height data, such as from ISAT or JEDI?
Yes, great question. So we're planning on adding JEDI tree canopy height data in the future. It will not be within the next couple of months, but it is already available on Global Forest Watch. So we're working on incorporating that into MapBuilder by the end of the year.
Thank you, Kai. So the next question is, can the code that one has to copy in order to build a MapBuilder application be saved somewhere so that they don't copy the wrong line by mistake?
Yes, great question. So we currently have the entire configuration file on GitHub, but it's good to know that it would be useful to copy and paste just the snippet for the MapBuilder Online tool. So I'd be happy to create another GitHub page that just includes that specific chunk of code.
Thanks, Kai. And if you create that page, we'd be happy to share it with you all after this webinar.
Yes, I'll make sure to send Alice that link and then she can send it with the rest of the materials after this webinar.
Thanks, Kai. The answers to the questions will be shared through the webinar recording. And then for other frequently asked questions about MapBuilder, you can access those through the Help Center, which link I sent out earlier through the chat. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, so the next question is, how much time does one reasonably have to effectively ground check some of the data that GFW offers and that's accessible through application, through a MapBuilder application?
So this is a good question. It's very specific to the data set that you're interested in speaking about. So for the tree cover loss data set that's available from UMD, there were several ground truthing missions that they did to verify the data. However, there has not been a more recent one than 2013, just to let you know. For some of the other data sets, there is some other ground truthing initiatives that are done that we can send some more information about within the methodology or the white papers that were produced as a result of those. If you're interested in doing some of this ground truthing yourself, one way you could do it is by using the recent satellite imagery data set that's available on the MapBuilder tool. This will allow you to zoom into a certain area where you see, for example, example, tree cover loss alerts, you could verify those alerts using the satellite imagery.
Thank you, Kai. So the next and I believe final question for today's webinar is, would the application still run if you upload the forest cadister for an entire country?
That is a good question. I think it depends on what country you're speaking about. If you're looking at a smaller country that didn't exceed the size of the data limits, you would be able to run this. Again, this is a data size question, so recall back to the data size limitations that we discussed earlier.
All right, thank you, Kai, and thank you everyone again for joining us. If we weren't able to get to your question or you think of an additional question, please feel free to reach out to us at mapbuilder@wri.org. We'd also love to hear your feedback on MapBuilder to help ensure it's as useful as possible for users like you. We look forward to connecting with you all again in the future. Thank you.